Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7, almost 8 kiddos. Homeschooling 5 to 6 of them, going into our 6th year of homeschooling. I have 2 kiddos, my oldest 2 that were in public school previously years ago. And so we made that switch and here we are. I wanted to do a video on what I have learned so far with picking high school and preparing for high school curriculum, I guess. And I did a video similar to that. It's kind of like my thoughts on high school curriculum and how I was planning and what kind of things that I was using, resources that I was using for high school. I will link those videos above. And I feel like every time I really sit down and get more stuff together and prepare more and get more in depth for this start of high school, I think of different things. And I'm looking right now at my stack. So I have one, two, three. I only have 3 subjects so far that are right in front of me of his. And I mean, the stack of books is like this. So it's intense, guys. It is intense. But I had a few things that I just wanted to mention. If you are in the planning stages of high school, as I am, and really buckling down and getting ready to start this crazy 4 years. So, anywho, I wanted to mention first off how important it is as you begin your kids' high school, the start of high school, how important it is to know their learning style. I have said so many times that all my kids are, I don't want to say they all have different learning styles, but I could tell you in groups how their learning styles are, and not just across the board, because sometimes their math learning style is different than their language arts learning style or their history learning style or their, whatever subject you're doing. It's not always across the board. For math, they might do better watching a video and watching someone else teach. For language arts, they might do better with you teaching. For history, they might do better reading it on their own in book, format. There are so many different learning styles, but it is imperative that in high school, you know what, by that time, which hopefully you do, unless you're just starting to homeschool, what your kiddo's learning style is. Because high school is not the time where you can be experimenting with that and saying, okay, let's try this and see what happens. No, because at this point, you are typically, if this is the avenue that you go, you are typically doing grades. You are typically going to be recording those grades in a transcript. It is not something that you take lightly. And so it is very important that you understand what learning style your kid works best with. Now, mine for high school, he is very independent. And I will say that, so he did public school through 3rd grade, which is a good chunk of public school. I will attribute a lot of that independence and a lot of that, I don't want to say motivation, but just very working independently to public school, because that's kind of what you had to do. With 20 some odd kids in the class, you were kind of on your own. And, math is where he struggled in public school, and now he does great with it. So it is not something that maybe their learning style in public school, if your kid was in public school, can't change, or their subjects that they are maybe struggled in public school and then are now homeschooling can't change, because my oldest did. He does very well in math now, and it's one of those things where once he gets it, then he gets it. But in public school, he didn't want to raise his hand, he didn't want to ask questions and all this, so he would just like leave things blank. And so anyway, it is very important that you understand for each subject, how does my child learn best? Because there are so many options in high school. You can do the DVD route, you can do the online route, which I'm doing. You could do co-op. Do they do better in a classroom setting where a co-op might be the best thing for those subjects that you are not as familiar with, or you aren't as comfortable with in teaching? A co-op might be your best option. Now, some of those you have to pay for, obviously, so take that into consideration. Or a class or two. Is algebra or geometry not your thing, but you don't want to do an online version, but you still want them in a classroom setting, and so that you don't have to do anything? Co-op might be the option for you. For him, we are doing kind of a combination of things. We are doing, of two things really. We are doing the online option for a couple of subjects, and then the other subjects I am doing myself, at least the grading part, and not necessarily the teaching, because really at his level, I will look over it and I will see what he has to do. But at this point, he is pretty independent. So as long as he kind of has a general idea of what he's to do every day or have done by the end of the week, then we're good. So keep that in mind. The time and the importance of choosing the right curriculum. It is something that you have to, hopefully by this point, know which curriculum, if you have tried a variety of things, what does and doesn't work for your kid. I can tell you that teaching textbooks does not work for any of my kids. So that one's off the table. We tried it for him, actually. Maybe it might have been right when he got out of public school. And I just was so disconnected from that curriculum. I don't even know. I don't even know. And people have commented that they have had similar situations and similar experiences. So teaching textbooks was not my friend. And so I knew right off, goodbye to that one. So you don't have to worry about that one. The Good and the Beautiful, I knew that he did really well with their language arts. So I wanted to go ahead and stick with that. I had some different, options that I was looking at, but ultimately that is where we are with language arts. For vocabulary, I knew that Wordly Wise was what we were going to be using. And so it has worked well for him. He has grown leaps and bounds with vocabulary. We're sticking with that. I knew that Knotgrass was one that I wanted to do because he did really well with it this past year. So I knew that that was something that we wanted to do for history. I don't think they have an online option, but we opted to not. Even if they did, we were just going to do it this way, as just kind of reading and answering the questions and doing all that. I knew for Spanish, I did not take Spanish. I took French. I would not be able to teach that. And also I wanted him to be able to hear it. And so BJU Press, the Spanish online class, is what we are doing. Now, with the online, that does not mean that you have to sit and be there at a specific time. It is literally online. It is not interactive. The ones that we are doing, it is not interactive, although some are. I know there's some curriculums that you actually have to be in front of the computer at this time on this day, and you are in a live classroom. We're not doing that. That's a little bit too structured for me, and so I knew that I wasn't going to do that. But an online option where you can watch it whenever, watch the lesson, they teach it, you can hear it, and then grading and stuff like that is online. That I knew I wanted to do. Math, I knew I wanted to do that with the upper ones. And then science, I was back and forth, but ultimately I decided on an online for that as well. So choosing the right curriculum is important, and that needs to be one of your first things that you do is figure out what to eliminate, what curriculum pieces to eliminate, or what curriculum companies to eliminate that you know that they are not going to work well with, or you are not going to work well with and mesh with. It is not time to just be very lackadaisical about it. Which goes on to my next point, is that you can't switch mid-year. I mean, you could. You could if your high school plan or goal is to just be very eclectic and very on your own and not worry about subjects being completed by the end of high school. I assume my kids will go to college, but I do not. And I will link that video because I do have a video that I did on my thoughts on college and how we approach that for our kids. I want to make sure that they have that option and that I did not lack in any area while they were in high school to where it would prevent them from doing something that they want to do, whether or not they want to go to college, whether or not they don't. I want to make sure that I have done my part and I have given them the opportunity and I have given them the tools, and everything has been done to where they can do and are able to do what they decide. So for me, even though homeschooling is considered a private school, so you really don't necessarily have to follow any specific guidelines, I do, because I have to have some sort of generic guideline that tells me what my kids should be learning, and in order to graduate and get a diploma, and in order to enter these, if they decide to go to college, enter a college. And so in that regard, you cannot just switch mid-year. So it is so important, like I said before, to know what curriculum pieces your kids are doing, and to not just take guesses, and to not just say, well, let's try it and see how it does, and if it doesn't work, we can switch. That's not always the option if you're going the route that I'm going. So important to know that it is more concrete than middle school and elementary school. And then finally, being held accountable. I am really enjoying, even though it's a little bit stressful, I am really enjoying the completion and the checking all the boxes for high school curriculum, and for high school, the choices of curriculum, and being able to look at our local ISD page and course selections and see if it is in line with what we are doing, and making sure it is in line with what we are doing. I am enjoying that because I am held accountable, and I know again that it is not like middle school and like elementary school where they can just kind of do whatever and still get all the credit. And because it is more structured, I am enjoying that. I am enjoying the structure. Not that my homeschool in general is structured as far as time and day and start date and end date and things like that. But the fact that I can check the boxes and I know that I am doing it all correctly and being held accountable, because I know that if I don't do it correctly, then what? You only have 4 years, so you have to do it right. I am enjoying that. It makes me feel a little bit more comfortable because I don't have as many decisions to make as it relates to his curriculum and his course plan and outline for high school. So I just wanted to throw those points out there as you are preparing, if you are preparing for high school. The importance of it, if that is your thing. Like I said, some people are still, they still do more, not say fun-based learning. That's not what I mean, but more lackadaisical learning and kind of more on their own, as opposed to, where they say it, crossing your T's and dotting your I's. Because to me, this is like the final stage where I feel like it all kind of comes together. And so the finality of it, and knowing that I'm writing down each year what we are doing, I'm checking off things and making sure that he has this credit and this credit and this credit, and being able to go above and beyond. You can do honors, you can do extra credits to where you graduate with 26 instead of whatever I think is it 22 or 24, where you are going above and beyond. You have that option, things like that. So just a few more pointers as we are continuing on this high school planning. I have ordered a couple more things that are online classes, but I get physical copies of the books too. So I will do flip throughs on those when we get them in. And I think I only have a couple more things to order, but like I said, it's a lot. It is a lot because you have 7 classes. This is not just middle school and elementary school. So I think he's ready for it. I think I'm ready for it. With that being said, I tend to focus more on his curriculum, obviously, because his curriculum is more, I want to say important, but really it is, than the others. And because if I mess up there, then it's my fault. So let me know if you have any other questions about high school related content down below. And I will see you guys next time. Take care.